Spoiler warning. Quick Summaries for Short Games is filled from top to bottom with spoilers. If you care at all about spoilers for the game being discussed, do yourself a favor and go beat it before coming back to listen.
Hello, I'm Trevor Robertson.
I'm Teri.
I'm Jorane.
And I'm Dylan Hanks.
And this week we're talking about Undertale. So this week, I've got 3 new victims to unleash my favorite subject on video game fan theories. Do you guys have any favorite fan theories that you've heard or seen or thought about regarding any video games?
I have one.
All right.
The companion cube.
No!
Yeah.
No, that was mine!
That's why I'm going first.
Serious?
Oh.
I had to go first. I'm like, someone else is going to pick this.
I was this close to using that one. Okay, so do you know why people think that that's a fan theory?
Because of Dr. Rat, or whatever his name is. It's longer than Rat.
The Rat Man, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's a couple of other ones. It's also like things that GLaDOS says.
Yeah, exactly. But you can like kind of find places that the Rat Man has been and he's scribbled stuff. And it just like implies that there are like dead subjects just stuffed into the boxes. And I'd like to believe it is.
That's so morbid. Yeah, I was reading about that earlier and I was like, that is fascinating, but I don't know if I'd be able to piece together everything in time. I like that a lot.
It is by far my favorite. So you have GLaDOS always making these comments about how they're sentient and like, oh, that one almost said I love you. Don't pay attention to that. And it's super fucked up.
Yeah.
But the most telling thing for me was the fact that, and I never really thought about this, but they have to weigh around the same as a human since you use them to trigger the buttons on the floor.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Teri.
Oh, no. Teri's talked about Portal here, too. She loves Portal.
Portal's fun.
How do you feel about that companion cubes being stuffed with dead test subjects?
The first time someone told me that the companion cube was either alive or filled with somebody, my heart broke.
Aw.
I sat there and almost bawled on my stream while I was playing
Oh,
the
no.
game. I know. I'm like, no, I need to hold on to my companion cube forever.
Yeah, she makes you kill it.
I know, right?
Oh, yeah. Incinerates it.
Squishy, hello.
Oh, it's so messed up.
Yeah.
Okay, so since we've got, I guess, 2 of you guys out of the way, Teri, do you have a fan theory or was yours also the companion cube?
I'm totally getting on the companion cube bandwagon on this one.
Oh, that's messed up.
Sorry.
Oh, I've super got another one, though, if you wanted more to discuss.
Okay, all right. Give me another one.
All right, so we're going to get real dark in here. Prepare to have your childhood ruined, but...
I'm going to go on record and bet that I used this one for the last episode.
Did you?
Where we talked about fan theories.
Oh, okay. This was the most interesting one that I came across besides Companion Cube, and it's the fact that you straight up murder Gary's Raticate in Pokemon Red and Blue.
Yup. I fucking love that so much. Okay, so Teri and Jorane, you guys didn't really play Pokemon, right?
No.
No, I'm not a Pokemoner.
Devastating. But yeah, Dylan, from everything to you killing him on the SSN to him not being able to get to a Poke Center in time is fascinating to me, just because the next time you see him, he's like, oh, you don't have any dead Pokemon. What are you doing here? Just implying that he does.
Yeah, he's in the tower in Lavender Town. He's where you go to visit your dead Pokemon or lay them to rest. And he only has 5 Pokeballs he fights you with. Oh, man.
Oh, that's right.
It's really messed up.
Joe did not like that at all. My fan theory is, so in Super Mario World, like Yoshi, you know, he can attack by sticking his tongue out. It looks like Mario is kind of like extending his arm and like pointing, but that's what players thought he was doing. And then due to the graphical limitations of the era, they kind of made Mario's actions unclear. And fans kind of theorized that he was just like donkey punching him in the head every time he wanted to shoot the tongue out.
Oh my God.
That was confirmed back in 2017 by the designer.
Oh no.
Mario punches Yoshi in the back of the head to get him to shoot his tongue out.
Yeah, I remember that.
See, now I can't play Mario.
Yeah, exactly. We're a bunch of happy people with happy fan theories here on this podcast. Nothing morbid.
We're violent.
I mean, I'd say I can't play Mario because of the animal abuse, but I played Pokemon, so.
Yeah, well, now we know we murder a rat. So
Much better.
So that's a fun little segment to start off with. And now we're moving on to a more melancholy game. Was this your guys' first experience with Undertale?
Yep, absolutely.
It was.
I knew nothing going into it, not a single thing. I'd heard of the game, but complete clean slate.
How'd you feel about it for your first playthrough?
I really enjoyed it. I thought that the fighting style, the combat style, whatever you want to call it, was one of the most unique combat mechanics I've come across in a game in a long time. I thought it was an incredibly deep game, and the more that I learn about it, the deeper apparently it is. Like, there's just 50 different ways that the game can play out, apparently, depending on very small choices that you made throughout it.
Yes.
I'd really like to say how angry I am that they forced me. I really thought I had to kill Toriel because that was just part of the game. Turns out you don't.
Yep. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, if you did not listen to the spoiler warning at the very beginning, this is a game that, as you just heard, that's a pretty big spoiler in itself. But once you beat the game, you might not have actually beaten the game or the true ending. And so this is kind of your chance to run and go beat it a second time. And I will spoil right now and say it needs to be a pacifist run. You can't kill anyone. And then go and do that, because even just knowing that, the ending is worth it. The ending put me to tears today. And it's just fantastic and well done. The music's incredible, and you get to have that satisfaction if you beat it in the pacifist run. So that's your spoiler-filled spoiler warning.
Is that satisfaction, though? Do you really get that much satisfaction out of the end? Because Sans is unhappy.
What Sans isn't unhappy?
And Asriel's gonna be miserable. Sans is only happy if you keep resetting the game, man.
Okay, that's fair, but you can still reset the game. Flowey's saying maybe you shouldn't. Okay, we're getting off track. That's just... we gotta slow our roll here. So I'm glad you liked it. It's complex and deep. I loved the mechanics as well. Jorane and Teri, was this your first experience with Undertale, or what was it like when you did first go through it?
Oh my gosh. It was my first, and I had no idea what it was about. And so you guys are going to kill me. When I first started playing this game, I thought, okay, this is kind of sweet. It's a little pixelated game where we're going to do some puzzles and stuff with a couple of skeletons that are pretty funny. You know, they're full of puns or whatever. And so I'm like, do. And then we end up having, you know, our first couple of fights, and the fighting mechanic was so different that I was struggling with it. And then I'm like, okay, now I'm a little frustrated, but okay, I'll keep going. Do. And as the game kept going, my eyes kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger, going, what is this game turning into? And by the end, I was so blown away about where did I just come from and how did I get here, and screw this. I was angry by the end of the game because I'm like, I didn't realize I either had to kill everybody or nobody. Like, I ended up killing, I think, one of the skeletons during that playthrough.
Oh, no.
What?
I know. And so I'm like, what did I do? And I had so many regrets. So anyway.
Poor Papyrus.
I mean, if it was Papyrus, I understand. You wanted him to shut up.
I think it was Papyrus.
It was Papyrus.
I love Papyrus.
It was.
Yeah. But I loved him. Like, he was a fun character. But I thought, okay, so is he the bad guy? But yeah, anyway.
Yeah, main bad guy, Papyrus.
No, you don't serve me cold spaghetti on a platter and get to live. I'm sorry.
Right.
I've played it too many times. Just watched it being played too many times and helped too many friends with the hard parts.
I've been one of those people.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. That wasn't even a puzzle though.
It was definitely a puzzle.
2 hours on the vent puzzle.
2 hours.
It was not 2 hours.
2 hours.
It was maybe an hour. I don't think that it was 2 hours.
A single screen puzzle where you just jump on the vents.
Okay.
Dude, that was like the really annoying psychic gym in Pokemon Silver. That's how I felt playing that section.
Yeah.
No, don't tell him that. Tell him it was easy.
Oh my God. Yeah, I will never live that down. And then to figure out the solution was just I was so close so many times that I just... well, that was years ago. This time, it still took me like 15 minutes. I still was like, I couldn't figure it out. I sent Jorane a message with a screenshot saying, you know, it's time or whatever. And then like 15, 20 minutes later, I was like, okay, I just did it. So that was devastating.
That entire section made me so mad. Every time I got a phone call, I wanted to walk back and go kill Alphys.
Right?
Wow.
I loved it. So Jorane, why do you think that you keep coming back to it? What brings you to help so many people with it, to play it yourself so many times?
It's kind of like an annoying topic because just playing the game and beating it like how you want to, like, it's great. And you should never, like, you know, try to tell someone how to play a game.
Yeah.
But like the one thing I don't like about Undertale is that honestly, like the pacifist ending, that is the game. And like if you play it for the first time, like a neutral run, get the neutral ending, you're like, oh, that was an game. Like just like get absolutely like cheated, I feel. So
I've got to admit, that's why I didn't play it again. I played it the first time and I was not a pacifist.
Yeah.
I try to like help So like when I like introducing people to the game, like I kind of preface it that way, and it feels kind of bad that I have to, because like a lot of people won't want to put in the time to play it again because they probably won't think it's worth it after just doing a neutral run, being like, that wasn't that great, which it isn't. Like pacifist run is the game to me.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel the same way. When I first started playing it, it was because of you. And when I started killing, because I think that I killed Toriel, or I attacked her, or I was just killing things, and you're like, wow, you're murdering them, you monster. And you hear enough about the game, especially when it was big and popular, to where you kind of know that things aren't going to be what they seem. And so when he was making those jokes, and it wasn't just one, it was like 2 or 3. And then at one point I go, wait, this is going to be like a thing later, isn't it? And so of my own volition, I went and I researched, and I was like, oh shit, okay, you know what? And so I kind of did myself the favor of just starting over and just going with the pacifist route. And then in order to go back and fully get the pacifist, you have to do a full run without killing anyone. And then you beat the boss, and then it takes you back to your save point right before the boss. And if you spare Flowey, they tell you, hey, you can change things if you really want to by doing this, this, and this. And then you have to spend the next hour or two running errands, and you go deep into Alfie's lab and like learn about all these monstrosities and these crazy things happening. And then you go back, and then you get the coolest ending ever. So you can do it in one run with a little bit of backtracking. But I'm just so thankful that Jorane made those jokes, even if it wasn't intentionally to warn me about it.
It was intentionally.
Okay.
100%.
But it made it a lot better for me. I just don't want to do that for other people, because I feel like I'm cheating them out of the realization of, oh, you've been killing these monsters. Like they're actually just decent creatures that you have trouble communicating with.
Yeah.
And then the pacifist run itself is like solving puzzles to figure out how you can dismiss them or spare them instead of killing them, which is just a more fun run personally. But I've been talking for a little too long now, so I'm going to ask, are there any other games that you guys have played that have been similar to Undertale?
Before we do move on, I just want to say, since everybody that is here at this point in this podcast, you have gone through the spoiler warnings. It's your own fault if you get spoiled on things. But if you are trying to do that pacifist run, don't give up like me. Don't get annoyed when talking to Toriel doesn't work, because that's why I killed Toriel and thought I had to. You have to talk to her like 20 goddamn times until she lets you move on. It is too much.
It's the same thing with sparing Flowey. You have to keep hitting mercy, mercy, mercy. And then eventually that's the only reason he tells you, like, okay, this is how you get the pacifist run. So don't be afraid to just spare. And then the whole point is to just dodge everything until you are free, basically. But yeah, that's a good point. Are there any games that you guys feel are similar to this game? Yeah.
I mean, Deltarune.
You can't name the sequel.
I know.
The sequel to the game. Wait, so there's a sequel?
There's the first chapter to a sequel.
Yeah.
And it lasts a couple hours. It's a good run, but they're working on the rest of the game now.
It's called Deltarune, you said?
Yeah. It's pretty similar.
Deltarune, yeah.
Because it has the same characters. There you go.
Some of the same characters.
Yeah, they're in there.
It's also an anagram of Undertale, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Yeah. Do you have any serious answers, Jorane?
Yes, I do. Everhood, one of my favorite games. But
So without spoilers, because this isn't a spoiler cast for that game right now, what is that? Why is it similar?
it's like a weird genre to kind of like pin down, but it's like the main mechanic has to do with dodging.
Uh-huh.
And I guess a lot of people will draw like the art style,
Yeah.
like super simplistic pixel art, kind of top downy. I don't want to get too much into that, but you will find
Okay.
similarities, and they draw inspiration from Undertale. It's not like they're trying to hide it. They put in one or two like references to Undertale, which I think are really nice.
Okay. I have played a little bit of it myself, and I really want to do an episode on that game. I'm going to lower the difficulty to maybe baby easy mode and then bust through it, because I hear the story is also pretty damn good. And I like the visuals and the music.
Is it that hard?
Yes. Jorane, I think, is playing on the hardest difficulty, or did already. I tried it on hard mode, which is not the hardest. And I was struggling.
Yeah, I love it. It's a challenge.
Teri, have you played a game that's similar to this at all?
I mean, yes, but for a different reason, in that we've all played Stanley Parable, right?
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah, great game.
Yeah, so in my head, it's like it starts out in one way and ends up going a different direction, and then multiple directions if you wanted to, and then you just want to be able to finish it in all the ways to be able to see it all. So I think that's what it reminded me of, at least.
I like that.
Okay. Yeah. Dylan, what about you?
The only recent game that I played that comes close to this, and it's really only in visual style because the combat was a bit more like Final Fantasy turn-based, but it's this game called Lisa.
Lisa, I don't even think I've heard of that.
That sounds familiar. I think I know that.
Oh, I know I've heard of it. What is it?
It's called Lisa. It's pixelated. You're going on this journey through what seems to be a post-apocalyptic wasteland. There's a small baby involved that you have to save, and it's hilarious if you can slog through it, because it's one of those games where you feel like the developers truly hate the people playing their game.
Oh. Okay.
At every turn, there are just like really dark jokes or really fucked up things going on. There's one moment in the game where you come across, it looks like platformer, like old school Mario looking levels.
Okay.
And you come across this large spire of rock with a ladder on it. So you go, cool, let me climb this ladder. And you start climbing, and you keep climbing, and you keep climbing, and you're climbing still. And then 60 seconds later, a full 60 seconds, I'm not even kidding, maybe more, you get to the top of this ladder. And the only thing at the top is a big middle finger.
Jesus.
And that's it. And then every other like cliff section, you can walk off of the side and like get down to the lower section. You cannot. You have to spend the full 60 seconds climbing back down this ladder. It's an amazing game.
Sounds fantastic. I can see where you draw parallels to Undertale. In certain regards, one of my favorite moments is there is a point where you have to move the leaf petals and you have to set them, in a line of 4, right? It's a tiny puzzle as to moving them. Okay, we'll have to cross the bridge here. I have to set them here. And at one point, you see a sign in the water. And so you have to set the 4 leaf petals down to get to it. And then when you do that, it just says, congratulations, you failed the puzzle when you get to the sign.
Incredible.
Yeah. So, and this game's just filled with little things like that really just kind of make it all the more charming. So I want to know if you guys have a favorite character. This game is just filled with these weirdly pixelated, but charming, but morbid, but annoying, but funny characters that are full of life the more you talk to them. So I know that you guys have to have a couple favorites in there.
I mean, who doesn't love Temmie?
Oh my, I should have known immediately.
That was my joke answer that I gave him before.
Oh my God.
I know, it's
Yep.
not my actual answer.
It's my legit answer.
Yeah, so you can go.
Why do you love Temmie so much?
I mean, just how adorable that is. I think, and forgive me if I'm not remembering this right, I think Temmie, there was a fight with Temmie where his head kept growing or getting longer and longer and longer and longer. And I remember...
Oh, yeah.
Remember? I think it was towards the beginning of the game, actually.
That's just one of the dogs.
Oh, well, maybe I'm misremembering then.
Yeah, it's not Temmie.
But anyway, yeah.
Wait, yeah, the Temmies are little dogs, right?
Yeah.
Or is it just one dog?
Yeah, aren't they all called Temmie?
I thought so.
Temmies are the ones that have like the weird 2 sets of ears, and Temmie specifically is the one like you sent college. They're like in a hidden place.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Oh,
Fun fact, though, about Temmie, that's a real person. That's one of their artists.
that's amazing.
She has a really great Twitter that if you liked the character, you would love
Oh God.
just all of her. Yeah, she streams and does, great art. And then her Twitter is just almost in character for that character. They just, I guess she just got to have free reign. And they're like, yeah, fuck it, we'll just put you in there.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's hilarious. But Dylan, what about you? Do you have a favorite character?
There are so many good characters in this game. It's crazy. And almost all of them are little one-off, you're never going to see them again characters.
Yeah, that's true.
Like by far one of the best characters is this random fucking mushroom in Temmie Town outside of the cave. And you talk to him and he's just vibing. And he's like, mushroom dance. Mushroom dance. Do you know what it means? It means you've lived a life of sin. And it's just so far out of left field that it's one of my favorite interactions of the entire game. I really enjoyed the lizard guy, though. The little lizard guy, where every single time you talk to him, he runs off and then falls flat on his face.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Fuck, the little dino toddler that does the My Neighbor Totoro trip and slam on their face.
Yes, so good.
It's just, every time I was cracking up. Even after replaying the game.
Just the best running gag of all time.
Made me happy, right?
But as far as like main characters go, my favorite character has got to be Sans. Got to be. You know he's an entire badass, but he'd rather spend his whole time just straight vibing.
I think he's one of the creatures that can like transcend time and space. He's one of those, the only characters in the game that can see every run being played over and over. But he does. He has some kind of aura where he just knows what's going to happen to the T. He knows everything that can and will and won't happen.
Yeah, and if you're an asshole and you spend the whole game doing nothing but killing everyone, he will show up and put you in your place.
And the whole time he's talking about, you've done this so many times now. Because you just keep failing and failing and failing and trying again. Yeah, he's fantastic. I think he's the most popular character in Undertale. Undertale, right?
He's got to be.
That's why he's in Smash Bros.
That's why he's in Smash. Poor guy got the Mii costume treatment, which is just devastating.
It's probably indicative of like my favorite type of character. You've got Shikamaru from Naruto, Kiyaraku from Bleach, all the really just low-key badass characters. But he's just so funny. Like one of my favorite parts of the game is you go on a date with Papyrus, which was admittedly really weird. You're a child. Really strange.
Super weird, yeah.
But there's this entire joke about how he built a really tall sink in his kitchen in order to store more bones under it. Then you open the cabinet, you find a dog's in there eating all of his bones, and it runs out of the house with the bone in its mouth, and Sans pops out of his room and goes bwah, 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 on a trombone, and it's incredible.
It's another example of the devs having a very specific type of humor that it hits home every single time. They knocked it out of the park. But yeah, all good selections. Strain, what about you?
Metaton. He's the most interesting, and then you end up finding like more about his backstory, like just kind of not even part of like the main path or the pacifist past, but otherwise like the best fight, best music, best character. Those legs.
Oh my god.
Those legs. So I found Metaton's fight to be the most frustrating.
By far.
Yeah, so I actually ended up deciding to go with a specific strat where I would do the heel turn the first few, get myself down to 1 HP, and then I would just pose for 600 point gains every single time after that and just not get hit. And then if you use a store brand HP heal, then you can get an extra 350 points. If you type leg in the type of novel thing, he gives you 350 points. I wanted to min-max that because I was like, I love the music and the character's cool, but I ended up getting to 1200 rating before even blowing his legs off or his arms.
Wow, cheesing Metaton.
Yeah, I cheesed the hell out of Metaton, but it still took me like 45 minutes to beat that stupid boss. So was it really min-maxing? No, but I could speedrun that part now. But yeah, the music was fantastic. I go through the trouble of figuring out what kind of questions I'm going to ask, and I don't know who my favorite character is. I think there's just no happier that I get than seeing Asriel, like at the end of the game, which for some reason, it just like invokes something in me, or it's just like these two little friends, and then the whole story that they went through together is just like heartbreaking. And then he's a badass with so many colors, and he's fighting you, and he's some kind of warlock, and then you have to dodge his shit, and then he starts crying, and you start crying. Ooh.
And then you hug each other, and it's all nice.
And yeah, it's exactly.
And then you realize you're dooming him to a life alone as a shitty flower in the underground while you move on with your life.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, well, maybe I should restart it just so he can have a friend. And then you kill everyone because that's all you can do. After you get the pacifist run, it's like, well, I guess now to do the exact opposite.
Speaking of the pacifist run and the ending, am I the only one that just expected, based on the way the game had gone, that the second you like break through the barrier, you walk outside and all the monsters are in the human world and they just instantly get like lit up, just murdered. They're like, monsters are invading. Dead.
Oh my.
That would have been nice.
Oh my god. This game has so many turns back and forth where it's like, things are fine. Just kidding, idiot. They're never going to be fine. Now they're fine again. I was joking. You're fucked. It's up and down a million times. And the very last time that happens, it's Asriel saying, you forgot one last thing. And then he turns to Child Asriel again and he goes, the credits or whatever. And then you have to just dodge the credits as you're going around or grab them on purpose. But yeah, there's so many turns up and down where you just have no idea if you're actually going to make it out happily. But so was there like a favorite aesthetic or environment that you guys really liked, or least favorite? Just, I mean, if you guys have some shit where you're like, you know what, I didn't like that at all, that's fine too.
Didn't like the molten place. Just like the aesthetic.
We know Trevor hated the vents.
Okay, well, yes, that's it. I liked the Undyne fight. I liked pouring water on her, and then yeah, I didn't like the aesthetic of or the puzzles in that part. It was long-winded to me.
Yeah.
Were those puzzles in the same like castle, right? When you're trying to climb up through the castle or whatever?
Are you talking about where you're like running across the wood and she's like shooting spears out from under you?
It's like the desert, like the lava place.
Oh, okay.
Where it's all orange. And it's just kind of, they're puzzles and it's a little long-winded. You have to go through the different elevators. And then you finally get to the cool part where you're in the shop and then you get to go up to the Metaton area and party.
That was definitely my least favorite section, strictly because Alphys would not stop texting you with inane bullshit every 5 seconds.
She wasn't even texting you. She was updating her whatever social media was.
Twitter or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what it was. Yeah, she was just like Facebooking out here. Awful. Favorite section had to be Snowden Town, though.
I love Snowden Town.
It's just so cheery and hopeful, and the background track is nice, and you've got all these people you've encountered and fought through, and they're just chilling. They're hanging out, being happy pups and drinking, and I just love going through the whole town and talking to literally everyone, finding out what they're like in their off time. You got that whole part where you go hang out at Papyrus's house, and it was just all good times and laughter and cheer and no obnoxious fights.
See, I wanted to stay there too. Like, I enjoyed it so much. Like, I just want this to be the game.
Right.
Just this.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, and they even have a fast travel from one end of the town to the other.
Yeah, the little igloo.
What more could you need? Yeah, that was delightful. The Papyrus date also took place in that, which again, that was weird.
Weird but good.
Yeah, weird but delightful. I forgot there was one character. He is second, I think, for me in terms of characters that I love. I just forgot. I love Toriel more than anything, but that wasn't who I was going to talk about. Was it Napsterbrook?
Napstablook?
Napstablook. Yes. Did any of you go into his house and just chill and vibe out?
Of course.
And do acid listening to music?
Yeah. I actually sat there for a good 30 minutes just to see if I'd get an achievement or something. No, I straight up I put it down. I saw him start vibing and all the stars in the background appeared, and I put the controller down and I watched an episode of Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Well, yeah.
Did you get an achievement?
Nope, nothing.
Nothing.
This game does not reward you for waiting for anything, let me tell you, because the second time I played the game, I reset it, and there's the very beginning where Toriel goes to the store and she's like, wait here, I'll be back soon, and I'm going to make you butterscotch pie or some shit. And I sat there for an hour to see if she would actually come back. She does not. Every now and then you'll get phone calls, every 5 minutes you'll get a phone call where it's like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm just running late. And after 3 of those, you'll get a phone call where it's like, some dog has stolen my phone. And she's yelling from the background as you hear panting and heavy breathing as the dog runs away with her phone.
That's actually really funny.
It's really funny. It's great to sit there and listen through. I'm not upset that I did it, but eventually it's just the dog has made it away with her phone and he's somewhere sleeping because all you hear when it calls is him snoring and Toriel in the background calling for the dog.
That's amazing. What the hell? Oh my God. Yeah, I don't even know how to go anywhere from there. As far as different sections that were my favorite, I feel I just cheat because the last bit is my favorite. Even in the neutral run where you're just walking through the castle and it's all gray. And then you have that one section, if you walk past the throne room, where you get to the coffins with all the different colors. And one of them has your name on it. In the neutral run, that was the biggest what the fuck moment to me. Yeah. Was my stomach dropped out the very first time. I'll never forget that because I was like, I know that the whole plan is for him to do this, but to have a coffin with my name on it is mildly devastating.
That's why I didn't feel bad about killing his wife.
Dear Lord.
True.
I loved Toriel, just knowing everything and then having to stand there and not kill her during the pacifist run during this playthrough. I was still just so sad. It got me because she's like, just stay, please. I just want a kid. I want to take care of you. My ex-husband's going to fucking beat your shit in, please. Dude, he's got a coffin with your name on it. Literally, stay the fuck here and eat your pie, you idiot.
I was going to say that my favorite section is leading up to Asgore. In the pacifist one, where they give you all the exposition about the sun and all that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they show you.
Well, see, but you get that anyways, right? Or does it have to be pacifist? Because are you talking about the little plaques that you read?
No.
The
monsters talk to you about what exactly happened with Azrael and the character that you named, because the coffin, isn't for your character.
Yeah. Because your name is Frisk.
Yeah.
You're not naming your character.
I think that's one of the coolest things. It's
oh yeah, you find that out in the pacifist run. That's right.
Name the fallen human, and you just assume that you're naming the character that you're going to be playing, but you're naming the character that's friends with Azrael.
Yeah.
Who is not there anymore.
Yeah, and that was another big realization, and there are so many of those in this game that you have. I agree. I forgot. The first time you go through, it is just silence, and it's still so cool, and then you see the coffin with the fallen human's name. But having the monsters, because it does that thing where, the heart appears in your chest, and then it brings you into battle, and you're like, oh, I'm fighting, but there's this music that's all of a sudden you're getting the chills throughout your entire body, and you're like, oh, I'm in a fight now against a random frogget, and they're like, no, they're just dancing and telling you the story of this sad fallen human, and it's the most uplifting melancholy feeling I think I will ever experience. It's just going through having no idea what I'm about to walk into. So Jorane, your favorite song was Metatons. Dylan's song?
No. He's just my favorite character. Favorite song was the Fallen Down theme reprise that you get at the end, where it just starts adding all the themes together.
Yes. Again, there's a reason that True Pacifist ending is the ending, and that's what's worth playing for. And if you listen to these songs out of context, they're still good, but even after beating the game, I'll get chills, but there's nothing like playing it and then listening to it at the same time. And I realize I'm gushing a little too hard, and I apologize. But like I said, I wasn't really expecting it, but I just finished it today, and I was just like in tears trying to beat Azrael. But did you guys have anything that you just didn't really like about the game?
Yes, very much so, and it's Jorane's favorite character.
It's funny.
My least favorite fight is any fight with Mettaton, the dickhead robot with a soul. Oh my god.
His poses, though.
They were great. I mean, okay, he's a good character.
Magnificent.
Yeah.
The fights I just hated because it was the same thing with Alphys. It's like every single time the dude popped up, it was the most obnoxious fight of my life. And it was like, oh, cool, another robot fight. And this time he's reciting Romeo and Juliet. Am I in hell? Am I Sisyphus? It was awful.
What I realized is I think the fights themselves and the difficulty are more enjoyable during the pacifist run because you're not sitting there doing the same thing over and over. You're trying to solve a way to make the fight end sooner that's not just killing him. And then, I don't know, you get different dialogue, I think, from certain things. Yeah, that fight pissed me off. Oh, there's no two ways about it. I love the character. I love the aesthetic. I love the song. But the boss fight can go suck an ass. I was not happy about it. Side note, my favorite song by far is the Spider song. Spider Dance is just second best song compared to, I agree with Jorane, Fallen Down Reprise is oof, perfection.
I don't know if I have a favorite song, to be honest. Like, see, I didn't play it enough to be able to, like, really get into the music because I was so frustrated, like, doing the actual playthrough itself that it was hard to, like, really enjoy that part of it. But I think what's really cool that I wanted to ask you guys is, have you seen or listened to, like, the orchestra presentation of Undertale?
Yeah, Jorane showed that to me, and I was obsessed for the longest time.
Yeah.
Yes.
I thought it was
It's
pretty
so
cool
good.
that they actually did it.
Yeah, it was very, very good.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
No, by far the best song is not on the soundtrack, as far as I could tell, because I went and listened to the soundtrack. But my favorite one, I just openly belly laughed at the 15 seconds of the most inspirational and heroic music in the game, used as the soundtrack to that tiny little duck flying you across the river.
Oh my, yeah. Fantastic. Okay, so I do have a question because I couldn't figure out, you know, the wishing room with like all those blue fluorescent flowers?
Yeah.
Do you guys know like what that was about? Were those like souls that were just put into different flowers? I didn't really understand that part. Did you guys?
Yeah, I think it was just like recordings
Yeah.
of their voices, basically.
Just recordings of their voices? There's nothing.
Yeah, I think it was following two characters just as they were walking.
As they're going to wish, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
They were like parrots. It's just like the Undertale version of parrots, I guess.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, because I was like, there's something more at play here that I'm not understanding, and that makes a lot of sense. So, what are the themes of this game to you guys? If someone were to say, hey, what is Undertale about?
Basic human decency.
That makes sense. That tracks.
But I killed everyone. What do you mean?
Oh, don't worry. I did too. And then I realized at the end I probably should have been kinder.
Oh, I mean, they're monsters, though, so it doesn't matter. So I can still be a
Oh
decent
my-
human. I agree.
Aww.
Jorane, only the true pacifist ending matters, is saying. Yeah.
I was just gonna say, more than anything, I think it's like decency, but monsters deserve to live too. So, you know.
Great, Dave.
I wouldn't go that far.
Some monsters, I don't know. Only Mettaton, the rest are, you know.
Oh my god.
No. Can we keep Toriel at least?
If she gives me some of that butterscotch pie, maybe.
Yeah, right?
I wouldn't really say there's like a theme to take away from this other than like friendship, but what makes the game just like super amazing is just how well they can kind of stick you into this world that they've made. So like if I'm explaining the game to someone, it's just the story about like a child who falls down a hole and it's full of monsters and they're just trying to leave basically. But everything else just the game gives to you.
Yeah, I agree with that. It makes total sense.
I think it's ultimately about kindness and the importance of it. And it goes through a lot of effort to show you that any confrontation you might come across, there's always an amicable solution. Being kind is never a bad choice when you're faced with a confrontation. And it really speaks to the importance of understanding where the other person in that confrontation might be coming from or the struggles they're going through themselves.
Very eloquently put. I'd agree with all of you guys. I mean, yeah, it starts starts off as such an ambiguous thing, and then being able to weave your way through and find the themes of it and really, really empathize with all these pixels on screen is just something I don't think I'll ever get over a video game's ability to do. And this is one of the strongest examples of that, where the more you go through it, the more you relate to, the more you empathize with, and grow to love these characters that your first time through you were probably trying to kill. I don't remember if I actually killed Toriel the first time. I think I did, and that's why
I think you did.
Yeah, because I think that's what Jorane gave me the shit for. Going through, I just felt that pang in my heart when I was like, just stop it. Let me go through the portal. I got some shit to do. I promise it'll all be okay. You just got to trust me.
I felt super bad as I was playing through the game, just because like Toriel, I think, was the only main character that I killed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I straight up thought I had to. Like, I kept Papyrus alive. I kept Sans alive. Everybody else that I could, where I realized, okay, well, like maybe there's more to this. I kept them alive, but I killed every just basic bitch encounter I came across.
Oh, no.
So it was like, I guess I only recognized the humanity or monsteranity of the people that can speak to me, and I might be an asshole.
Yeah. Oh, God. You know the reveal where you get told what love and EXP means?
Yeah.
Oh, I was so upset.
Yeah. I was thinking Dylan might have been kind of upset about that one, yeah.
So upset. Oh.
EXP meaning execution points, I think was just like, this time around, it was Sans, first of all, telling you, which is just, you know, that character you're talking about, where he's just kind of that aura. And for him to look down and just be like, all right, you have so-and-so execution points. And then what was love?
I think it was level of violence or something.
Something like that, yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah. No, I was really mad because the only reason I started fighting all the basic bitch characters was halfway through. I was like, dude, I'm still only level 1. I've got to fix this.
Was it ever said what soul it stands for?
I think it's just your soul, right?
But it's all capitalized, which leads me to believe that it stands for something. And if they don't give that information in this game, I'm willing to bet that it's going to stand for something in Deltarune. That's just my guess.
Maybe. It's a big part of the story too, like combining the souls and all that stuff. So it might also stand for something, but the souls themselves are like actual things.
They'll still be souls. And yeah, it just was weird to me that they capitalized it all in the same way that they capitalize love.
All right, I've got it. It's a sense of untainted love. There you go.
Sense of untainted love.
Dang.
Okay, all right, I'll go with it. And then if you mush it together with the monster soul, then it becomes a monstrosity. Does that mean that a monster soul is tainted? And then, see, but now I draw, that's problematic.
Yeah, you know.
Wow.
That's the whole part of the game.
Then you get into the genocide run question. Like,
ah, shit. All right, I'm booting up Undertale. We're doing this. Killing them all.
I'm really curious about Asgore and Toriel's relationship. Because, like, Asgore truly feels like he is regretful.
Very much so.
Yeah, he feels as though he truly doesn't want to do what he is doing, but he has an obligation to his people to do so. And Toriel seems to feel like he's this monster that does what he wants to for fun, and he wants to kill these people.
Yes.
There's obviously some sort of like open and honest communication missing there in that relationship, which is probably why they're divorced, but there's something going on there.
But I don't even know if marriage is a thing. I think, like, did they say husband and wife? I said divorce at one point. I guess I just mean like separated, right? Because they were king and queen.
Yeah. Well, I mean, doesn't that imply that they're married?
Yeah, exactly. So about their relationship, I think the funniest thing is that, yes, she is angry at him. She's never afraid of him. She wants to protect you from him. But towards the end of the game, when they are in the same room for like the true ending, she gives him the dirtiest side eye of all time. And it is perfection. The closest thing to it is in one of the newer Marvel movies when Bruce Banner's in the Iron Man big machine or whatever.
The Hulkbuster suit?
Yeah, the Hulkbuster. He trips and slams into the ground. And what's her name from Wakanda is like just gliding by, and it's perfection. But that side eye, it's like she's looking at him like they've been married for thousands of years, and he just sneezed and a deer ran away when she was trying to take a picture of him. Like, nice, Ron.
Nice, Ron.
Instead of like, ugh, you killed 6 children and stole their souls, disgust. It was just like that petty marriage side eye every time he talked.
I really liked their dynamic, and Asgore, I think, is probably my second favorite character.
Really?
Yeah, and Toriel, she mentions that like she's the most upset with him just for like being a coward instead of, you know, taking it actually into action. He's just waiting for people to fall fall into the city so that maybe they can get out.
What's he supposed to do?
That's right.
They can't get out.
Couldn't he get out? And that was what she said?
Yeah, she mentioned that he had the power to actually like go ahead and maybe like go kill some humans to make things right, but instead
he waited.
Yeah. So just dooming everyone down there.
So she's mad at him for not killing humans, but she didn't want him to kill this particular human.
Just for being like a despicable person, basically.
Yeah, because he took the coward's way out. Whereas if he was going to kill these helpless children that fell into the well, like he could have gone out himself and handpicked them at least, instead of just waiting for the most wimpy, cowardly baby creature to just kind of stumble in and then have an entire arsenal of monsters bring that baby to him to just slay the toddler, take the soul, and then...
Didn't they sort of indicate that monsters are significantly weaker than a single human? Like a horde of monsters is weaker than a single human?
Yes. Actually, they did.
But he's a boss monster as well, which they mentioned are particularly strong.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I have actually in my notes, I have one of the signs as you're reading is it starts talking about the war, I think in the wishing room again, but it just says not a single soul was taken and countless monsters were turned to dust. And that's just the genocide that humans caused on monsters. It was visceral and huge. And the story of this quote unquote war that took place that you're learning about as tiny exposition while you're going about your little tiny jolly melancholy journey is like, it's just such a juxtaposition throughout the entire game. And it's part of the charm, and I love it. But it's like the same thing happens with Asgore and Toriel's relationship. It's funny and quirky and silly, but it's also a very deep relationship that I think has a lot of deep backstory that we don't really get to be a part of.
Yeah. Well, she's with Sans now, so.
Well, there was also this, speaking of relationships, clearly there's something going on between Alphys and Undyne.
Yes.
And I never really got any closure for my run because I killed the shit out of Undyne and never told Alphys.
Oh my god.
The whole time Alphys is talking about Undyne, like, oh, she's so great. Oh, you'd love to meet her. Oh, she's awesome. I can't wait to tell Undyne about this. And you're just like, oh, about that.
You killed her by just using the fight action, or did you kill her by... Okay, so there's a fun part. Actually, Tara, my sister, played this game for the first time in the neutral run, and it was mostly neutral, but she just ran away the whole time. And then there's a water cooler. At one point, she chases you, and she like gets heat stroke and is flat on the ground. And you can walk past and just go to the next screen. Or you can go grab a cup of water from the water cooler and you can give it to her.
That's how I killed her.
Oh my god.
You just walked away? That's amazing.
I didn't give her any water. Yeah.
Oh,
you and Tara both.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Call me a softie, but I picked every good option, every nice boy option. I was just trying to...
Killing Toriel, yeah.
No.
I didn't run or do any of that. I was like, what, you're a giant monster with a spear and a suit of armor? I'm a human child. Like, come at me.
Jorane, did you complete the genocide run?
Nah.
You didn't. So you just completed the true pacifist and neutral a lot of times?
Yeah, and then I watched the other one. It looked definitely the hardest because you have to kill everything on every screen, all the monsters until there's none, like no random encounters.
You can do that? That's incredible.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So you can't accidentally do an actual...
genocide run.
Yeah. You'll still get the neutral ending. You have to kill everyone.
Holy hell.
Until there's no music on the screen. Says it's like no one's there.
I think that's the one thing stopping me from doing it, like the whole run. The only reason that I would want to is because I want to fight Sans. I want to spend 6 hours with my head slamming on the table just saying I'm never going to do it and him making fun of me. I want to be, in the most platonic way, I want to be Sans's bitch.
Wow. Until
I beat him. We should launch into Grade Brigade where we give the game a letter grade and then say what kind of person you would recommend this game to. But you know what? I'm going to add a specific circumstance for anyone who wants to answer it, which is how would you tell them to go about playing this game? So I'll start with Jorane.
So a letter grade? This is new since I've been on the podcast.
Yes. Yeah, we go for letter grades because it's called the Grade Brigade.
Oh, so what's it like?
A through F.
A through F. Okay.
Does Canada have different grades?
There's no S here. We don't do Japanese grading.
Yeah, I was gonna say, where's S? I mean, yeah.
Not tiers, grades.
Oh my, A++. There we go.
Okay, so he's given S tier.
Yeah. Depending on who I recommend it to, I would basically recommend it to, anyone. Like, even if they didn't want to play it, like, I would still want them to experience the story in one way or another. Like, even I might play it as they, experience it. But depending on who's actually going to be playing it, I would give them, like, a different disclaimer, basically. So if it was talking to someone like you, who I'm afraid might lose interest really quickly
fair.
if they don't like it, then I would give them the disclaimer. It's like, hey, it's like you might have to play this multiple times, so maybe do it this way.
Do it the proper way first. So that-
Yeah, but then if it's someone else who I know is just going to put in all the time, I would probably let them roam free.
Just go for it.
Yeah.
Trevor said that to me. He was like, most people play the game a second time, so just heads up, like beat it with enough time to do that. And I was like, no.
I should have just said, here's why. Because afterwards, Dylan, what did you tell me? There was no indicator as to why you should play a second time?
Oh, yeah, because I came up to him and I was like, yo, you told me like this was going to make me play the game a second time, but it definitely didn't. Like there was nothing to tell me, hey, I need to run this again. And then he was like, oh, no, it's because like people realize that you're supposed to be a pacifist and not kill them, so they usually play it again to find the real ending. And I was like, oh, nah.
Nope. I messaged him like 2 hours before the episode or whatever, and I'm like, hey, so what was your decision on a second playthrough? And he goes, I'm watching videos now. Yeah, Teri, what about you?
Oh, Jorane's gonna kill me. Jorane's
I will not.
Oh,
You're going to give it an F. That's fine.
I'm not gonna give
we're
it an
going to
F.
pitchforks.
Not an F, but like,
Wait, whoa. First you're going to 5 out of 10 limbo, and now, so what are we getting?
I know, right?
Oh.
I would give this game a B+.
You can be harsh on it if you want to. It's a
No, I don't want to be. Because I absolutely appreciate the story. And I appreciate the fact that they were really good about trying to break that fourth wall so often. And the twists and all of those things. But I just struggled. I struggled with my playthrough. I didn't enjoy the fights. I never caught the glimpse that you're supposed to do a pacifist run. So I only played it once too.
I'm glad I'm not the only one. Yeah, it never occurred to me like, oh, I should try that again.
Yeah, I ended up so frustrated too many times to be able to like really fully enjoy and grasp just the bigness of the story.
Okay.
So, yeah, which is unfortunate.
It is, but if you've seen everything on it and you've played the game once, you've gotten to kind of live Undertale, and that's okay. So what kind of person would you recommend the game to, knowing what you know now?
I would recommend the game to an actual gamer versus a casual gamer. Like someone who understands that at any point a game can flip itself on its head and you get to go along for the ride and you get to figure it out and you want to be able to replay it. Like you want to be able to get all the endings and see all the clues and see all the Easter eggs and that kind of a gamer versus the casual Stardew Valley player. So, yeah.
Okay, the casual 9 million currency Stardew Valley player.
Anyway, yeah, exactly.
Sorry to bring up all of your Stardew Valley history in every single episode, but it's
I'm working on
Wait.
I'm working on it.
Do you have more hours in Stardew than Rivals now?
We're not talking about this. This is it. This is done. When you have the Stardew Valley episode, you give me a call.
Now, have you ever done the year one completion, like where you get the red cabbage in your first year and you do everything in the first year?
Oh, God, no. Oh, God. Oh, no. No.
I think she's stuck on one run, and that's been her playthrough forever.
It's so good.
And it's just incredible. I want to play Stardew so bad. But as people listen to the episodes, if they're following along, they'll get to go on the adventure with you.
Oh, no.
I'm sure a little bit later they're going to listen. They're going to be like, I wonder how Teri's doing in Stardew. And then sure enough, the next episode is going to be like, we're sitting at 15 million.
Oh, my God. Or we could cut it from the episode. Let's cut it from the episode. That's a good thing, too.
Ooh, it's too late.
No!
Well, first of all, Teri, I've never met you, but you must be an incredibly nice person, because to preface something with Jorane's gonna hate me and then give it like a grade that I would have killed for in high school, like, I was expecting an F as well. Yeah.
I just know Jorane, that's all.
Oh.
I just know Jorane.
I would also give this a B to a B+. I thought it was a wonderful game. It was very bright. It was very fun to play through. The soundtrack absolutely murders any other soundtrack I've heard.
It's
so good. It was just an incredible game all the way through. Not my typical type of game, which is the only reason I cannot give it an A. It's just not something that I would play normally, and it's probably the reason I didn't play through it a second time. I enjoyed it for what it was.
And that's okay.
But the type of person that I would recommend it to is anybody who enjoys having an emotional connection to your games. So anybody that plays anything but Call of Duty.
Jesus Christ. twice.
Pretty much.
True.
Glorious. I'm going to lean towards Drain's side and say, A++ S tier. I'm going to give it a condition, once again, similar to Drain. And that's just that I recommend everyone just start with the pacifist run.
Yes.
I think the best way to play this game, because you get the neutral ending anyway, the first time you play it. And so I want to dock a little bit from it. I want to dock points from having to play it twice to get what you really need, or at least be told, hey, just don't kill anyone, and then, pour some water on Undyne, go on a date with Sans. It's a couple disclaimers you have to make to get them to be able to do that. So we'll dock it from an A++ to an A+. And I'll say I'd recommend this game to, I will say anyone, so long as they have those disclaimers. But I don't think there's anyone now that I really have gotten to pressure people into doing a podcast episode on it. I think I would go back and I would tell Dylan immediately, you know what, just don't kill anyone. And there are a couple things you have to do after you beat it once. Oh, and also pour the cup of water on Undyne. Like, that's how I would just preface the game by doing that. And I realize that's too many steps for convincing someone to play a video game, but it's just the best way to do it, I think.
I would have loved that disclaimer.
Yeah, because being able to, having to watch that video of the final ending or the true ending instead of live it, I think it's got to take a lot out of it. And I think there's a reason that both Drain and I are just like so over the top about it. And you guys are even, B's and B pluses, those are they're great grades because the game is amazing. But there is a lot taken out from it, just removing the entire last chunk of the game. Thank you guys so much for being on here. Is there anything, Dylan, other than Defiant Robot Records or Teri and Drain, maybe Twitch or...
Other than Defiant Robot Records, always check out our podcast. Of course, we get new episodes every week, and we just came out with some new merch, so that's great. But also, I do professional voiceover work and commercial production from home. So if you have any interest in that, hit me up. You can find me on Fiverr at dhanksvo. That's DHANKSVO. Or you could hit up Trevor or hit us up through the Discord or something. There's a myriad of ways to reach out to me. But if you are interested in any way of getting a professional voiceover or a commercial for your business, reach out to me. Let me know.
Hell yeah. Okay, perfect. Teri, were you going to say something?
I just wanted to say that if anyone had a really good recipe for cinnamon butterscotch pie, I'd like it, please.
This has been Quick Summaries for Short Games. I'm Trevor Robertson with my three beautiful guests, Teri, Jorane, and Dylan Hanks. Teri can be found streaming horror games on twitch.tv/Teri_24. Jorane is streaming degenerate games and Rushdown Revolt at twitch.tv/JORANE. Dylan Hanks can be found on the Defiant Robot Records podcast and dhanksvo on Fiverr. Follow us on Twitter and Insta at QSS Games to get updates on games we're playing and when we're dropping new episodes. We also just started releasing minute-long videos giving super quick summaries for games I can't stop playing. Abominable Productions edits the podcast, and I can't thank them enough. The podcast art was done by Jorane. The music absolutely smacks, and that was provided by Defiant Robot Records. Dylan Hanks read the spoiler warning, which was super important for this episode, so hopefully you listened. Next week's game is Ori and the Blind Forest. So
yeah, I watched the pacifist ending video, and like all your friends pop up on screen, and they're like, "I believe in you, I love you, you're great." And I saw Undyne, and I was like, I was like, "Who the hell is this bitch with the long hair?" I have no. Oh, that's the person that I'd never seen out of her suit of armor because I murdered her. That's right.